There's no reason you should be uncomfortable with a meta gun. Let's start there. That doesn't make sense, okay? Every meta gun is meta because it's one, broken. It's like the DMR or something from Verdansk. Or it's incredibly easy to use, or both. That's why it's meta.
The patrons know what I said before I pressed record. They don't.
You think?
They never will. They'll never know! Harry Potter! We are recording! Boys and girls, welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty Podcast Patreon bonus episode number 100 and also 80 and also 8. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today I'm joined by Tanner. It is the 26th of November at the time of recording.
Wow.
And
yeah,
we
it
will,
is,
It is, yes. And we will also be putting this episode live for the plebs on Thanksgiving.
Giving some to the poors, huh?
Correct, yes. So for the patrons, this is a Patreon bonus episode. You guys are going to hear it before Thanksgiving, or you're going to have access to it before then. Happy Thanksgiving to you. If you're listening on Thanksgiving because you're not a patron, sad Thanksgiving for you. Become one. It's simple. Now, you might want to wait, though, because for the month of December, we are going to be doing 50% off.
Oh, wow.
All new patrons of any tier. So keep that in mind, and we'll talk more about that later. But what we're going to do today is micro topics ep. So we're going to talk a lot about kind of a lot of different things, all relating to COD. This is a good sample of what goes on in the bonus episodes for the Patreon. So you can maybe use this as a guide if you enjoy this episode to evaluate whether you'd want to become a patron. And then if you decide you do want to, then yeah, now would be a great time. December, we're going to have Season 1 Reloaded, Warzone Ranked. Insofar as that's playable, it won't be. A bunch of other new content, but a lot of new bonus episodes coming out. Kind of like this, then. And you can get in there for 50% off W Patreon for that. So yeah, today what we're going to do is micro topics ep. So basically the way this works is we have a channel in our Discord for our patrons to kind of give us ideas for like mini episodes where it's like, this is a good topic for an episode, but it's just too short.
Yeah.
So we bundle them all together. So they're all going to be related in such that insofar as they're all about Call of Duty, but beyond that, not necessarily going to be related, although they could be. So starting off, Jaren, Silver 538. Okay. Nate Silver lover, cringe.
I know what's happening.
And there's a guy named Nate Silver, and he's like a pollster for elections, and he's famous. And 538 is the number of, or is the name of like his company or whatever. And Jaren's profile picture is an electoral college map. Got it. Hate it, lots. What I don't hate was his micro topic suggestion though. Features you would like to see added or removed in Warzone. So we did some notes on all of these that we're going to talk about today. Before we started recording, I have a couple things. We could absolutely think of more, but we'll just say a couple things for now. Partially because I think some of these at least are realistic. So what would I like to see added? Overkill is default. We've had it before. I would like to see that added again. Don't make me run a wild card. Cringe. Stop. Add better wild cards so that Gunfighter has some competition, and then also make overkill default again. It is very boring having to buy my gun. I don't like it. Or just use ground loot. Because like, even though the ground loot guns, so like usually you'll find a PP19 or some SMG with like enough attachments. It's like, this is good. That's cool. But I want to use my stuff, man. And it's a lot less
what
fun.
Warzone's all about.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot less fun using ground loot. Even if it's really good ground loot, I still want to have like my gun with my exact attachments, my stupid decals and weapon charms and camos on it. That's what I want. You know what else I would like to potentially see added to Warzone? This is a bonkers idea. Wow, I just thought of it. You thought you liked zombie builds. Wait until you get a load of Warzone builds. That would be sick. I would love to see that. What would be the reason not to? It'd be hard, I guess, for them to code. But that would be really cool, too. I would really like to see that.
You talking about like wall buys? So
in zombies, you go into like your loadouts, and for every gun, you can make like... So whatever, the PM pistol.
Yeah, and then you buy it off the wall and it has those attachments, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in Warzone, it would be the same thing. You go into your Warzone loadouts, you press left trigger to set as Warzone build, and then when you find it as ground loot, it has those attachments.
Oh, you're just saying for normal ground loot guns. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something for sure. That's an idea.
Yeah. That would be dope. It probably needs more thought because it could be a little too bonkers.
It would never work correctly. They're incapable of
doing it. It wouldn't work correctly would be the main issue, yeah.
Because like imagine if you use it, you die and drop it, and then some guy picks it up. What does it magically swap to his attachments? It would never work. Yeah. I think
at that point it should just stay as whatever it was. So like when it's in a container, it's yeah, I mean, they couldn't do it. You're right. It would be a coding nightmare, probably. They can't do anything correctly, so they certainly couldn't do something of that magnitude, but that would be cool. I would like to see that added. A couple other things I'd like to see added to Warzone. More players to Area 99, and not the opposite of that, which is what they did 2 days ago. Yeah, not less.
I don't understand what their data would show to make them think that it needs less players. I guess they just think it's too hot, so teams are dying off early, but that's not the way to fix it. Change the resurgence timer. Do something else. Try something else first.
It's completely insane.
Because it also just never feels hot early.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Sometimes it did, but now it doesn't. I mean, so Jake and I played lots of Area 99 pre and post player count reduction, and the lobbies die off just as quickly as they used to, which is not surprising. Of course they do, because there are fewer people, obviously. And also, it's now like a little less fun in the early and mid game. I would say, honestly, it feels almost exactly the same as it used to. So it accomplished absolutely nothing. And it pisses me off a lot. Because that is the opposite of what everyone wanted. Yes, which is what everyone was saying on Twitter in response to that tweet.
Yeah.
Which I would W COD community for getting that correct. Yeah.
Like I saw the tweet pop up on my phone because I have notifications on, and I just read like the first part that was like, it said something about we've seen data on player counts. I like saw something and I was like, oh, dope. And I'm thinking, I wonder if they raised it to 52 or what it's been raised to. Lowered it. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. They've just fallen off. Raven has no fucking clue what to do with the game anymore. I don't know what happened during Caldera. Everyone must have just left the company, but they don't know what they're doing anymore. Yeah, it's a disaster. I would love to know what that data was as well. Like, I'd really love to know. Like, oh, cool. What data made you think this was a good idea? Every game ends in third circle? That made you think there were too many players. Got it! I'm assuming it's because they have data that a bunch of players are dying really early, which makes them think if there are less teams, less players will die early, and then they'll survive through the end of the match. But that's not going to happen. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's their thought process. I mean, but it's so dumb. I don't know. And it's weird because Jake and I also played quite a bit of Rebirth, which is just a better map, by the way.
maybe it's probably a lot because of the player count being far too low on Area 99, but Rebirth has a very consistent, healthy, normal level of activity the entire match, every match. The game never ends third circle. It does not happen on Rebirth ever. And there are more players now on Rebirth than on Area 99. So why is that? Why does that happen? I actually don't know the answer to that, honestly.
I'm thinking map design.
I'm
thinking because there's so many places
I just don't know what.
Where you can shoot people from far away and then third party so easily, whereas like Rebirth is kind of broken down. It's like when you're at prison, you're in your own POI. When you're on the east side of the map, you're in your own area. You're not fighting anybody else. When you're at Stronghold, you're in a totally different area. But on Area 99, since everything is so flat, and everyone always talks about how they want flat maps, well, this kind of might be showing it doesn't work well. It's just everybody shoots everybody. I think that's the issue. I
think you're right, actually. Because if you get on like any roof
in the middle of the map.
Yeah, I think if you're on like any roof of Area 99, you can just shoot at whoever you want. Whereas if you're on the roof of Factory, you're not killing anyone on top prison, and you're obviously not killing anyone on top control. You literally don't have line of sight to control. Even if you're aimbotting, you can't do that. So I think you are correct in that. You know, another big problem with Area 99, I said this jokingly recently, but now I'm beginning to think it's real. There are too many ground loot snipers. Dude, every single game I will get pot shotted from 400 meters away because you have line of sight everywhere, and there are way more ground loot snipers on that map than on Rebirth.
There are billions.
So it's just a recipe for not fun and a disaster, and for teams getting wiped because you will just get picked, sniped to some guy you have no idea is there. So they're not going to redesign the map. Obviously they can't. But one thing they could do to help this, let's revert this player lowering, first of all, and then also let's cut the number of ground loot snipers down 70%. Actually, it is insane how many there are. Every single game you'll trip over them. Like, there are far too many. So anyway, what else would I like to see added to Warzone? Vondel.
Yeah, would be the best map for Omni movement by far.
Yeah,
would have been the best map to have in the game. Yeah.
Yep. So that would have been cool.
It's really nice having a medium-sized map like that, and we don't have that right now at all. We have two small shit maps and one large map with 30 players too few. So yeah.
I mean, exactly.
Nothing. Yeah.
And by the way, Vondel is another very flat map. It is in fact perfectly flat, like Iowa flat. I mean, it is exactly flat, but it works because it's way bigger than Area 99. And again, you don't have line of sight to everyone else at all times if you're on a roof, which you do on Area 99 pretty much. So
honestly too, having no footstep audio is definitely leading to everything playing a lot different, of course, because like people are just dying because they don't hear people sprinting up to them. So there's probably some sort of data too that was, like I was saying, the lobbies were dying off too quickly. And it's like, well, how much of that is because you guys are dog shit fucking devs and had broken footstep audio for 2 weeks? Nobody knows somebody's coming.
Yeah.
Like, how many times did you sprint up next to somebody and just shoot them in the side of the head? So it's like, it wasn't playing correctly anyways because of that.
Right.
Because they're bad at their job. They don't deserve Thanksgiving vacation.
They're bad at developing video games, as Jake would say, which is absolutely correct. Yeah. So anyways, I do miss Vondel. I miss Vondel.
I miss it a lot.
Yeah. I miss it as its own map. Like Vondel itself, I like. But more than that, like you said earlier, I miss having a hybrid mode map between Resurgence small map and then Urzikstan big map. Vondel was right in that sweet spot, right in the middle. It kind of felt like playing both at the same time. It was a really good mix for people who are into that. So even if you didn't like Vondel itself, I think there's something to be said about a Resurgence map that is way bigger and has way more players so that it plays sort of like Resurgence and sort of like BR. Even if you didn't like Vondel, you should miss at least that aspect, or you should at the very least hope for a new map that also is about Vondel sized with about 70 players on it. That would be my ideal, honestly. As much as I love Vondel, I would love to see a new take on the Vondel idea. Like a big map, 70 players, still Resurgence though. That would be probably my ideal if they wouldn't mess it up, which they would, but I mean, whatever, it'd be different at least or something. Or throw a crater into Vondel and re-release it, I guess. I don't know. But I want a middle ground map bad, so. And then another thing I would like to see added to Warzone is a kernel level anti-cheat.
Oh, there is one though.
That's what they say.
That's what Phantom Overlay says. It is literally a kernel level anti-cheat. Yeah, that's crazy.
I want to give him a swirly. Yeah. So that would be cool too. Although, to be fair, I think I'm unique in this experience actually, but because I saw that tweet you posted today. I have not seen any cheaters in like the last 2 days.
Really?
Yeah. And I played a lot of hours.
Interesting.
So that's been cool. But again, because I understand that there are other people in the world besides myself, and other people have experiences, not just my experience, and they're saying and posting very obvious cheater clips on Twitter, I understand that the cheating is still a really big problem right now, even if I'm not experiencing it myself. So I'd love to see a kernel level anti-cheat. And don't you worry, I will experience cheaters again soon. Almost certainly. So that's cool.
Play ranked play.
I could do that if I wanted to experience it myself.
It's crazy how 19,000 cheaters have been banned from ranked play alone. In how long has it been out? A week?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many cheaters have been banned in Valorant ever. I'm curious. In the last 4 years, they've banned 3.6 million accounts.
Wow. That'll happen. So.
3.6 million. Yeah. In 4 years.
Ricochet
in 4 years is probably at about 30,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the game has
30,000 accounts, which is probably like 1,000 people.
The amount of player as Valorant. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Warzone is free to play, by the way.
The cheating might be worse in like the UK though from that video because one, they're all terrible people, so most of them just cheat. And then two, morals, it's just there aren't as many people queuing, so maybe you're just way more likely to queue against one. Yeah, but
if you're in high SBMM, that's probably true too. Yeah,
but I mean they have nothing else to do. It's overcast all the time. There's nothing fun to do. You can't go to a shooting range. What are you supposed to do there? You know?
Can't even eat when you're bored in the UK.
You can't even get a large soda. Yeah, you can't even go and get a Diet Coke. Yeah. Can't even get a good burger. You can't get anything there. So
yeah.
You can get shanked and that's about it. So you either go out on the street and you get stabbed to death.
That's about it.
Or you cheat in video games. You have to pick one. So
right, exactly. Yeah. So, and don't be mad if you're British. It's not my fault that you were born there. America's better. That applies to Canadians and every other country, of course, as well. So. Stay inferior. Anyways, it's a joke. Just relax. What would I like to see removed from Warzone? My own footstep audio is absolutely number one on my list right now. I am real goddamn tired of hearing my own footstep audio. Now, I am beginning to learn what my own footsteps sound like so that they don't spook me, but I'm not like 100% at it yet. This is not a skill I should have to learn. And even if I do know that these are my own footsteps, they're loud and they're drowning out other audio, potentially an enemy's footsteps. There's no reason to have my own footstep audio. Remove it. Hey, cool. I'm running by a wall and now my own footsteps are echoing really loud in my ear. I'm immersed. I'm not. I'm mad, actually. It's not that interesting. It's not that cool. I don't care how proud you are of it as a sound engineer. I don't care how difficult it was for you to have done as a sound engineer. Fucking remove it now. It's not good for the game. You know what else would be difficult? To dig a 6-foot hole in my backyard with a plastic spoon. That would be really difficult. It wouldn't be worth doing though, would it? Obviously. So this is exactly the same thing. Oh, we did something really challenging. Look how cool our tech is. I don't fucking care. Remove it. It wasn't worth doing.
Yeah,
that's number one.
Complete waste of time.
Complete, utter waste of time. It doesn't even add to the immersion, by the way. Like, it doesn't like feel more realistic when I hear my own footsteps really loudly. Because I can tell you, as someone who's been alive and walked in real life, lots more than I have in a video game, actually. My own footsteps IRL have fucking never been that loud, ever. And I've never heard that much reverb, ever. And unless you're a like businesswoman, major, or a businesswoman in high heels, then you hear your own footsteps.
Yeah.
That's great. That's it
though.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
Right.
So we're literally playing Warzone, just prancing down the hallway in our heels, I guess, just reverbing. That's all we're doing. They're bad. They're just bad at their job.
Yeah. It's just, it's one of the, and there have been literally probably hundreds now of examples since we started this podcast, examples of Activision spending a lot of time implementing some feature that was time consuming, costly, and difficult to implement that no one wants. That is at best adding nothing to the game, and at worst ruining the game. And this is on the ruining end of that spectrum. Classic Activision move. They love to do shit like that. So very cool. I'd love to see that removed. Lootable perks I'd also like to see removed.
Yeah, get that shit out of the game. I'm over it already.
Yeah. It's cringe. Unnecessary. This also slows the game down, by the way, because I have whatever. I have my loadout, right? And then I open a box because I need AR ammo because I cannot for the life of me top it off no matter what I do. So I'm looting crates still. Don't want to be. Shouldn't have to be. But I do because I need ammo because the munis don't give you enough. Ammo resupplies don't give you enough, etc.
Yeah.
So I hit a box and then there is a perk on the ground. And I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I'm not going to not loot the perk. Like, obviously, I'm going to loot the perk. But now I'm like wasting my time with my thumb up my ass looting perks when I shouldn't have to do that. If you're going to have them, auto equip it fucking now. Why would I not want a perk? In what world where do I not have the perk on the ground and then I also don't want it? In what circumstance is that possible? None. No circumstance. So number one, auto loot it. But if you're not going to have it auto loot, have it auto loot if you're going to have it in the game, but also just don't have it in the game. Slows it down a lot.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, I try to pick up the perk. I accidentally pick up the ground loot sniper that came out of the crate because of course it is. It's area 99. So now I have a sniper. And it's like, God damn it. So now I have to switch it back to my other gun that I originally had. And all of this is happening because there are lootable perks in the game. So then I try and loot the lootable perk and then I already have it equipped. So then I hear a faint whatever noise that tells me you have this perk already, but I don't hear it because my teammate is running up behind me who sounds like an enemy. So now I'm jump scared. I turn around to look at him. It was just my friend. So then I turn around again and now I still try to pick up the perk. I still can't hear it because my teammate is continuing to run by you already have this perk noise. And then I finally fucking figure out, oh, I already have this perk. That's like 5 seconds just gone, where I could have been moving my character and having fun playing the first-person shooter game by shooting people. By the way, you do not auto-loot self-reses. We had gone over a patch note that said, if you're downed, you can auto-pick up a self-res. Guess when you can't auto-pick up a self-res? When you're not downed, which is the only time ever I'm going to find a self-res. Got it. And once again, in what circumstance can you imagine where I don't have a self-res, I run over one on the ground, and I don't want it? None. Just auto pick it up. You know what I'd like to see removed? Terrible heads of studios, and I'd like to see added good devs. That's another thing I would like to see added.
I'm not sure if a good game dev exists though. That's the issue.
Yeah, a
There aren't
lot
too
of
many
games
out
are
there.
really bad and not good. That is true. Yeah. Nick
I would
Gene
like them
fell
to
off.
remove. Oh, so yeah, they fell off so hard.
Yeah.
I would like them to remove every ounce of the gunplay. Take the MW19 era Warzone gunplay and just paste that into the game, and then never touch it again. That's what I would love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, not much utility in this question for those of you listening, but maybe it was entertaining or interesting to you. Yeah, whatever. That's my wish list. So once again, let me be clear. If we thought about this longer, I could add 30 things to add and remove column if we really wanted to, but it's kind of a waste of time. So those are some big ones. Jaron also said, what would make multiplayer fun once you finish the initial camo grind? This they've actually done really well this year, and that is the prestige mode. I still play multiplayer. I still get on and do my dailies and just play it anyway to level up, because it's fun enough in and of itself, like intrinsically. But then also the reason I'm going to keep playing is because I still have something to grind for, because I'm going through the prestiges. That was the biggest, by far, most impactful thing that has made multiplayer fun for me since day one. Multiplayer has been fun since day one for me, because there's a classic prestige mode. That's really all they had to do. It isn't complicated. They'd figured it out 15 years ago, but now they finally re-added the feature, and that's fantastic. A couple other things they could do on top of that. They could have good maps. That would make multiplayer fun.
That would be cool. Yeah, good maps would be good for the game.
That'd be pretty crazy, yeah, because we have one, maybe 1 to 3, depending on how mad I am at Treyarch devs.
Nuketown. Yeah.
Yeah, Nuketown too, I guess. And then, I like Payback a lot. We'll get into it. And then a playable ranked multiplayer mode also would be cool, because I have thought on 3 separate occasions, it has popped into my head, oh, I should try multiplayer ranked. I'm on controller now. And then the moment that thought enters my brain, it is drop kicked out like it owes rent, because there are cheaters in every single ranked lobby. So it's not even worth trying. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are a couple
I thought
things
about
that would
that
make
the other day
multiplayer
too.
fun.
I thought about that the other day too, because I was like, oh, ranked is coming out. That's dope. I'm like, this game's pretty fun. And then I thought about it for 3 more seconds, and the first thing that came to mind was, oh, I'm old, I'm on K-BAM, and it's full of cheaters. No, we'll never play it. Never.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I got real excited for, literally like sub 5 seconds. Like, oh, ranked is out. That'd be fun to grind. No, it wouldn't. I slapped myself in the face and said, no, it wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, there you go. So moving on from that. Nicole.
The whole like medal system and everything, or the calling card and all the challenges this year too, that makes you play a lot. I mean, I'm literally looking at those, like going for things. Like every time I just go into zombies to do dailies, I will go through things like, like look at my field upgrades and whatnot to see how close I am to the next tier of that, to get just free XP for getting 250 kills and then energy mine, stuff like that. So that makes you play a lot more, actually use different items and play different.
Yeah, true. Like I'm using streaks I would never otherwise use in multiplayer. Like I'm using right now RCXD, like Sentry Gun, and Hellstorm Missile. I would never use this, but free XP, because you get the little badges for doing them.
And it all of that comes back to prestige.
Exactly.
Because if this game had all the medals and calling cards and all that, wouldn't care, because there's no prestige, so the XP wouldn't matter. But you're doing these little challenges to get the XP to continue leveling up to prestige. So that's what it all comes back to. So the first dev studio to remove prestige just will be a complete and utter failure. So we'll see if they do that ever again.
Who removed it the first time?
Yeah.
Let me take a wild guess. Let me take the most wild of guesses. BO4, that was Treyarch, and that had a classic prestige. And then the next one was Modern Warfare
think it was 19. Modern Warfare 19 was after BO4.
2019, yeah. Right. And there was...
Yeah.
Oh, and that's when we lost the classic prestige system. Okay, yeah. That was a really...
That was Treyarch again? Who was that?
Fucking terrible decision. Who could have done that? Oh, it was Infinity Ward. That's right. Of course, yeah. The genesis of every extremely bad decision Activision's ever made in the last 5 years, Infinity Ward, of course. The worst dev studio by lots. Hate them a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it really does all tie back to the classic prestige system. It's so good. And the rewards for it are really, really cool now, by the way. Like, the last time we had classic prestige was BO4, and it was nowhere near as good as the prestige system we have now. Like, in BO4, it was you get a new icon every time you prestige and you get the unlock token. That's it. Mm-hmm. But in this game, every time you prestige, you get a whole new set of calling card challenges. You get a new icon. And then you also get like 5 other pretty dope rewards. Like the operator skin where the girl's in her pajamas.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like good weapon blueprints. And because weapon blueprints are relevant, even if they're not good, you have a permanent free unlock with them. And like other stuff like that. Really, really well done prestige system. Better than ever, literally. So it's not only a return of a good system, but it's best implementation ever by far. Like, I'm a really huge fan of it. So
yeah, it's done very well.
Yeah. So that has kept me playing multiplayer and zombies and Warzone. Like, I did Warzone dailies and plunder today and zombies dailies. Yeah. And then we had to record. So anyway, next one is from Nicole. Any tips for constructing loadouts? For example, have one of each class, pairing certain weapons, throwables, perks together, options for different modes, etc. Okay, so kind of already said this before, but I have a development on this. So custom slot 1 should have overkill on it. And in your primary slot, in that class, you should have an SMG. It'll be 5 attachments. And then your secondary on that class should be an AR. It will also have 5 attachments. And then put whatever equipment and perks you want. And then that will be custom class 1, and you'll set that as your favorite class. So that if you're running around in Warzone and you see a personal box, you get 2 really good usable guns, because you'd rather have 2 5 attachment personal guns than 1 8 attachment personal AR and then a pistol. So that's class 1. Yeah. Why do you have SMG as your primary? Well, so that way when you go to a buy station, you can just buy your SMG and it's only 2,500. So then custom slot 2, this should be your gunfighter class. So set custom class 2, gunfighter wildcard, build your 8 attachment perfect AR, a pistol, and then again all the equipment and perks and stuff you want. So then this way you can, when you get your loadout, you hit it, you get custom slot 2. So you have your perfect primary, and then you go to the buy station, you buy the SMG from custom slot 1, you're good to go. So this is the most efficient way, using the fewest class slots, to be able to optimize hitting the personal loadout box, and then also being able to buy your SMG off the buy station, and then still having your gunfighter primary. That's all you really need. And then I guess if you wanted to, you could also have a custom slot 3 where you have overkill. Your primary is an AR, but it's only 5 attachments. And then your secondary is whatever, so that you can buy a 5 attachment AR from the buy. I don't really ever see that being relevant, but sometimes in Resurgence, I would like to be able to just buy 2 cheap guns, because I know loadout's coming soon, so I'm not going to buy one. But I also want to go be able to like go fight competently over the free loadout drop. This is something I've done a handful of times, but that's like far less important because you're really not going to be buying a 5 attachment AR very often. But having the option, I think, is probably a good idea. This is also compounded by the fact that every time you prestige, it resets all of these. If I had to set this up once, I would do it. I'm not setting it up 10 times though. Like I prestiged today, and then it's like, I don't care enough. I'm just setting up the first 2 that I talked about, and then I can get fucked. It's fine. There's no ranked resurgence anymore. So, and I very rarely see an instance in big map BR where I would be buying a 5 attachment AR, but
I buy a 5 attachment sniper, but yeah.
Yeah, if you're sniping, this could be totally
really
different.
More than 5, I don't think, on those.
Yeah.
If you're buying your sniper, I don't think it's worth the money for a few extra attachments, basically.
Yeah.
Good with 5.
That's probably true. And then as far as like synergies go, like we used to talk about this a lot because it used to be more relevant in my opinion. So like in MW19, it was a really good idea to run quick fix plus throwing knives if you're playing like Rebirth Island, because I don't think you got quick fix inserting a plate originally. I think it was only on downs and finishes. So I might be wrong about that, but regardless, it was nice to be able to just like quickly get that quick fix going with the throwing knife. I would say the one synergy that might be relevant is Resolute, which is the yellow perk where you move faster when you're shot, and then Stim Shot, which is the tactical that heals you and gives you another 15%. And if you stack them, you get a 20% movement speed bonus. That's a cool synergy, but I don't think you should go out of your way to get them both. So if Resolute is your favorite yellow perk, regardless, and Stim Shot is your favorite tactical, regardless, then obviously use them both and you'll get that extra little synergistic benefit, which is cool. But like, if you would prefer tempered and Stim Shot, but you really want to maximize the synergistic effect of Resolute and Stim Shot, I would say don't. It's not really worth the extra 5%. If you prefer tempered, it's not worth going to Resolute only because you want to be like maximizing combos like this is Pathfinder or something. It just doesn't matter that much. If it was a 30% speed bonus, okay, well then I would tell you the synergy's worth it. I don't care what yellow perk you like. You will now run Resolute. But it doesn't work that way. It's only an extra 5% on top, which is good and relevant, but in my view, not worth going out of your way to take. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, synergies, other than that, it's like there's pretty much just always a best of something. So it's like, if you're trying to line up a certain tactical and lethal to run together, it's never going to work. There's a best lethal, there's best tactical for a reason. So stuff like that always just, there's really not much thought put into any of that anymore in Warzone. I don't know if there ever really was. It's pretty much you just build your gun and that's it. And then everyone uses the same tacticals and lethals. A selection of like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I largely agree. Because there are like other synergies that you could talk about. Like, I don't think this isn't true now, but when Cold-Blooded countered High Alert, I would say if you're going to be sniping, there's a very strong argument to be you running Cold-Blooded, so that if you're trying to line up a headshot on someone who doesn't have High Alert, you don't have to worry about them like freaking out when you start ADSing at them. That's like a relevant synergy. I haven't sniped in a long time. I'm on controller now, so I don't know if I would have ever done that anyway. But that is like a fairly powerful synergy that maybe you'd want to run, but it doesn't even work that way anymore. So like, yeah, any other kind of synergistic things. And again, there probably are other ones, but I can't think of them because they're not impactful enough to be worth it. It really is kind of like Tanner said. It's like, you should just use the best thing in slot. And even if you're not getting any compounding synergistic effect with it, because of what else you're running, it's still overall on the net better. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. With one exception, I would say, if you really want to be a piece of shit, here's a very strong synergy that I hate seeing, but it works really well. Smoke grenades and a thermal optic. That's a great synergy. That's a really, really strong synergy.
Yeah, I think I should try doing that.
If you're on KBAM especially, you should try doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even if they also have a thermal, they lose aim assist. But they probably won't have a thermal anyway. So, like, you don't miss aim assist because you don't have it anyway. And they can't see you. They do lose aim assist. So,
you know what's funny is me running on just the outside edge of the smoke where somebody can still perfectly see me. They're missing more shots than if I were to stim with no smoke and I have a 15% speed boost, which is kind of crazy. It's absolutely insane.
A lot
when you
more,
think about
by
it.
the way.
I think I'm going to have to go back to smokes because I forgot about that, honestly. I didn't even think about that, about how many gunfights you would throw smoke. I mean, that's how Metaphor plays Warzone. He throws a smoke and pushes a building because he knows, he's like, well, I'm not going to win in a gunfight against like some kid in this building on a controller. So like, I'll just break it by throwing smoke and then they lose aim assist. That's actually very smart, and I'm going to have to go back to that because stims, I get the speed boost, but it's like, doesn't matter. They're still hitting every shot. It doesn't help unless I can get around a corner. Smile, it's a fucking Treyarch version of Warzone. I can't get around a corner. I'm dead around it, and I'm dead through it because they're not good at developing video games. They're just not
bad at it, in fact,
So I'll be going back to smokes next time I play.
Smoke. So smokes like by themselves really strong. And you'll probably run them anyway in like once ranked comes out if you're playing that, but they'll probably ban thermals in ranked, which I think is probably good because then no one would run smokes anymore because there'd be no point. But yeah, the smoke and thermal synergy is extremely strong, whether you're on controller or not. It's really good. So like, you should consider doing that for sure. And you might be thinking, oh, well, tracker is a perk and it's really strong. Like, but they're not going to have aim assist. So they'll know like where you are. But if you're moving your character and they don't have AA, they're going to miss a lot of bullets, dude. A lot. So like you're kind of chilling, honestly. So that's the strongest synergy in the game by far. And you can get a lot of easy kills. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is from C Knight. This is just a fun little trip down memory lane. Top 5 multiplayer maps. Two additions. So top 5 multiplayer maps pre MW19, and then top 5 multiplayer maps from MW19 beyond. I'm gonna go pee.
Wow. Yeah, so my list, top 5 pre-MW19, before you all start molding, what about this, what about that, what about this one? First of all, shut up. It's my opinion. Second of all, I didn't play most of those old Black Ops games that everyone played. I didn't play BO2, I didn't play BO3, I barely played MW2 and 3. I primarily played like COD 4, COD 2 back then, because I'm older than you guys, and I just didn't play the other ones because I played on PC, so I played the ones that were most supported and most popular on PC, which COD 4 is the most popular PC Call of Duty game of all time, without a doubt, prior to crossplay and MW19. So yeah, my top 5, number 1 is Crash, which is a COD 4 original. Dope map, played very well back then. Just a classic. When they brought it back in, I guess MW19 it lost its touch, but still for me, that was always my number 1 growing up. Absolutely loved Crash, played the shit out of. I played more Crash than any other map in COD history, without a doubt. So that was my go-to. Strike 2 in COD 4. Strike was a really good map. I think underrated. It was kind of interesting at the time because it was a larger map than kind of what we were used to. It was kind of just a big square, and it was interesting. It had a really long middle lane that was very wide, and it made for interesting one life gameplay. So like search and destroy, because there'd be little like jump spots where you can get to, and you have to hit it perfect. You spawn in, you run, you get the jump spot perfect, you lean around a corner with your sniper, and if you get there fast enough, you can catch people crossing way down the lane. and you'll get kills through, through smokes that they would throw, or as they're just trying to cross. Always very satisfying. Just a fun map to play. It was an interesting design, I think, at the time. So that was number 2. Actually, these aren't even necessarily in an order, honestly. Crash is my number 1 for sure, but all the other ones. Firing range, super fun, especially in BO4, honestly, with the operators using the dude with the, God, what was his name?
No, it wasn't Crap. Ruin.
Using Ruin to shit slam kids. So much fun. Just a really fun map. I don't really know why. It was fairly basic design. It just played very, very well. Maybe something to do with that middle lane kind of being angled that kind of pushed people more. Kind of just instead of running down mid, you played the lanes a lot. I don't know. It was very fun though.
Yeah.
Love firing range. And then Slums, just a classic. Love fighting around mid. Love playing Dom and Hardpoint on that map especially. Hardpoint was very fun, trying to take those hills and whatnot, defend those. The placement of them, I thought it was really good. And then my last pick would be Tujane from COD 2, which was like a desert map. A lot of rooftops, very fun for sniping.
They remade it recently, didn't they?
I think that was an MW19 they brought it back. Kind of the same thing with Crash, though. It doesn't play the same.
Doesn't hit the same, yeah.
Nothing does anymore, but it was very fun. That was a classic map. That was probably the fan favorite from Call of Duty 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So for mine, pre-MW19, I have a similar preamble to Tanner. I did play, I played COD 4 some, but I was like a Halo guy. So I had an Xbox and I would dabble in the CODs, but I was more of a Halo guy, which I find insane now because I hate the idea of not having your loadout and instead you run around and camp, rocket launcher and gravity hammer spawns. That sounds so boring to me now and bad, but I like the world of Halo a lot. I like the long time to kill a lot, and the aesthetic and all that stuff I thought was very, very cool. I still like that way better than the COD universe. Aliens and shit. I don't know. I'm just a super nerd. I'm into that. But as far as gameplay goes, yeah, it's way worse. And I know that some Halos, by the way, have had loadout type things. I think ODST had you picked your little ability, so you could pick the jetpack or sprint, some other things. But you still don't pick your gun. You don't put attachments on your gun. There's no gun camos. And before you tell me Halo 8 has all of this, it doesn't. Or if it does, I don't care. So, whatever. But anyways, I was playing more Halo. So I played some, MW, or COD 4, MW 2, a lot of MW 3, some of Black Ops 2, a good amount of Black Ops 2, probably Black Ops 1, and then I never played BO3. And Infinite Warfare I never played, Advanced Warfare I never played. And then I got back into it, and that was all on console, on Xbox. And then I got back into COD on PC, playing KBAM, for Black Ops 4. And that is the Call of Duty I have by far the most hours in, excepting maybe Warzone. If you would count all the years of Warzone, I'd probably have more hours on that at this point. But for a single, not even a full year, because I didn't even play BO4 on launch. I played it for the last probably 8 months. And I played a lot of that game. I got Prestige Master level 1000, reset, and then prestiged again, lots. I played the fuck out of BO4, and I loved that game. I hated it, but I also loved it. So most of these pre-MW19 ones are, in fact, all of them are from BO4, kind of. So number 1, and these are not in order either, but this happens to be my absolute favorite map of all time. Real ones will know, firing range. The best map, Call of Duty, FPS map that's ever been made, in my opinion. I don't exactly know why either. It is the perfect size and the perfect layout, and it's not close. It's really not close. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good map.
It is just the perfect FPS map. I don't really know why. I can't explain it exactly either. I mean, there are other maps that are similar sizes. There are other maps that are also like 3 lanes, which I guess you could call firing range. But then there's like a back lane, so that I don't know if that counts. Whatever, however you want to classify it, firing range is the best map ever. These next ones are in no particular order. Nuketown. I mean, what are we doing? It's Nuketown. Great map. Slums. Indeed. This is probably number 2 favorite map of all time. This is a much more classic.
Slummy.
Yeah. A much more classic 3-lane COD map design than firing range. And it's perfect. It's such a good map. It is so fun. Like, I love it. It's fantastic. Icebreaker, which is a spicy red hot take, I understand. And it's terrible on TDM, but Icebreaker Dom, man, it was fun. It was really fun. It was a really good map. One of my favorites, for sure. But again, only on Hardpoint and Dom. Absolutely not on Team Deathmatch. It's a terrible, awful 2 out of 10 map on TDM because it breaks the spawns lots. But when there are objectives, the spawns are good, and then the map itself is really fun. A big part of all of these, by the way, is visibility. Very easy to see people on all of these maps. Mostly because this was from BO4, which had great visibility itself, but something to keep in mind. And then the last one might be spicy red hot as well. Contraband.
Yeah, it was a good map.
An exceptional map. Probably like this better than Icebreaker. Icebreaker is probably 5th here. It's probably firing range, slums. Ooh, Contraband / Nuketown, and then Icebreaker. But Contraband was a really fun map. And it had like the water off the bridge. All those fights from like the little nest to nest over the bridge on Contraband. And then you had tasty flank routes. It was a great map, dude. I really liked Contraband. So those would be my pre-MW19 5. And now we get into the most overrated
map was Raid. Raid was one of those maps for me that it's in everyone's top 5 pretty much.
It's not good.
But it's just, I mean, I get it, I guess. I just don't personally like it, but it's like everyone is probably thinking my top 5, they would have like one of those in there or 2 of those. So I get it. But Raid, that was just, that's the popular map to me that I never understood. But again, it's because I didn't play, I don't even know what COD that was in originally.
BO2.
BO1? Okay,
BO2, I think.
See, I like never played that game, so I don't have that nostalgia that you guys have for it. But looking at it now, I don't think it's a good map, and I don't think it's a good map at all, actually.
I think it's fine, but it's too big. It's way too big of a map. That's my big problem with it. If it was much smaller, I would like it more. But even then, I wouldn't love it. It's not
big. It's just...
It's pretty big, dude.
The lanes are weird.
Yeah, the lanes are also weird. The lanes are very far away from each other also. Like if you go all the way left versus all the way right, you are very far away from each other.
And then the spawn areas, going to each lane, it's kind of, even that's like a weird route you have to take. I don't know, it's like, nothing's just straight. There's something in the way, or it's closed off, or there's like a building in the middle of the lane,
like
and then even mid's
you have
weird.
To like do a little snaky snake.
All of it's a little weird in my opinion, but that's always a fan favorite.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've never got it either.
For me, post MW19, Shoot House, just classic.
Of course.
Basic map, but just a way better version of something like Shipment, I guess, you know. Probably a hot take, but I actually like Shoot House more than Nuketown even, I think, to be honest. I think it's a good, just brainless map to play if you're trying to level guns, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's probably better designed than Nuketown, honestly. Yeah. Because Nuketown, you can really get farmed. Whereas Shoot House, you can at least hit a flank. But if you're getting really shit on Nuketown, you can't even flank. You cannot get past mid. There are too many strong spots.
And you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just mid is one big wide open area, whereas Shoot House mid is essentially 3 lanes still.
Right. Yeah. It's a really good map. Yeah.
Number 2 for me, Krovnik, Farmland, Ground War. I
Great
don't
pull.
know why, but
Great pull.
it's just like I've been saying a lot recently. It all comes down to the lobbies, and MW 19 Ground War was peak because there was no SBMM. It did not exist. The lobbies were generally terrible. They weren't terrible. They were average. You had some really sweaty players. You have some lobbies where there were a lot of shit players. They were interesting. It's not like what you have now when you play sixes, where everyone's the same skill level as you or better, unless you 2-box. There's no other way around it.
Shout out Mixta and Korean Savage.
That is why Ground War to me was always so much fun. Every map was different. Then you'd get in games where a bunch of people on the other team were sniping. It would just always be different. There's so many players in the lobby in one specific area. It just led to a lot of variance, which I thought was interesting. But Krovnik Farmland, for some reason, you wouldn't think it would be, but I loved that map in Ground War. I thought it was so fun. All the little buildings, the windows you can get in. You can get really far out on each lane and kind of basically shoot people in the side and the back, flank behind them. So that one was a banger.
Specialist and multiplayer back then too. That was so fun. Oh, man.
Anaya Palace Ground War as well.
Yep.
Really good map. Most people absolutely hated this, but in Ground War, I thought this was amazing because there were no vehicles. Yeah, you didn't have the vehicles that ruined it. It was just all infantry combat. So I would just go the same route every single time, run up one of the lanes, get in one of the buildings, and essentially start spawn raping them. That's what I would do.
Dude, do you remember there was a weekend? It was like new MW 19. It was like a week or two after launch. And we both
before Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten a nuke yet. And we were like, dude, let's try and get a nuke. Like, we can do this on Anaya Palace. So we were just Q sniping Anaya Palace Ground War. And we would be in the same squad, so you could spawn on your squad mates in Ground War. So if we would both just like stay together and try to just spawn farm them. And if one of us had like a 10 kill streak, the other guy would just start like playing protection. And we would both, we must have gotten a brutal like 7 times each in like 2 days. But we just could not get the nuke because if you're in their spawn in a room, eventually they're going to throw enough nades and rockets and just random hip fires at you where you're going to get picked. And it was frustrating, but dude, it was so fun. It was so fun. And it'd be like, oh, dude, stay alive so I can spawn on you. Stay alive. It's like, oh, enemy's area too hot. So you're like spamming F, trying to get that little microsecond where it's like they're not in a battle or whatever. That was so fun. And that was a great map. Yeah, absolutely good map.
Yeah. So that, and then Apocalypse from Cold War. I never liked the game, but Apocalypse to me, when that came out, that was a really good map. And
it's a deep cut.
It. Yeah.
One of the DLC maps, yeah. It was added like halfway through the season.
Ton of good post-launch maps for that game, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because they didn't have a full launch, so we had 2 maps to choose from on launch, so a lot of the post-launch ones were good. And then last one, MW 2, for as much as it was hated, much better maps than BO6, and it's not close. Embassy. Yeah. Embassy was a really good map.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It had like 0 flow, but for some reason it played really well. It also was by far the most fun map to play when we would do Patreon hangouts. Yeah. And we would do multiplayer. I don't know what it was, but Embassy played the best. Really fun on hardpoint, because a lot of the hills are like that hill at mid is so difficult to hold. So it was fun fighting over little areas like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, MW2 launch maps way better than BO6 launch maps.
True. Yeah, true. The hills were very far away, it felt like, on Embassy. So like Hill 1 and then Hill 2, you have to go far. And then like Hill 3, you'd have to go opposite corner. Yeah. So yeah, my list. And by the way, if we thought about this for a lot longer and pulled up like all the maps of all the games, I'll speak for myself. I would probably have a somewhat different list on both of these. Probably not the first one.
Yeah, it would change. It would change.
This list, I think, would change if I thought about it forever, but whatever. These are the ones that came to mind. 4 out of 5 I'm with Tanner on. So Shoot House is one of them, of course. Probably the best map we've ever had post MW 19. I can't think of a better one, honestly. Shoot House is a perfect sixes map. I mean, it is classic 3-lane design, perfect size. If you want to like snipe, if you want to use an SMG, if you want to use an AR, completely viable on this map.
Yeah.
To do any of those things, shotgun, whatever. The one downside of Shoot House is the tire junkyard dark corner. You guys know what I'm talking about. You will never see a guy there.
Yep.
To this day, I could load in. You could put the whole team right there taking a group selfie, and I would not see them. That's the only flaw this map has, though. Like, that's actually it. And that's more of a flaw of the game than the map. So, Shoot House is a great map. Krovnik Farmland Ground War, absolutely. And I also agree, I have no idea why this is a good Ground War map or why it's my favorite. No clue. I have no fucking idea what makes it so fun. I think what it might be is that there are buildings no taller than 2 stories. That's actually probably what it is. Because every other Ground War map had very tall buildings or structures you could get on top of. Quarry had the really tall shit. Anaya Palace didn't really either, but that's why it's also one of my favorites. Downtown was a nightmare. And then what was the other one? Port, another nightmare. And it's all because of these terrible, terrible skyscrapers that we're trying to play an FPS game in. Got it. So that's probably why. Farmland was so fun, though. This is going to be a spicy red hot take, but Black Ops 6 Payback. I think this is an exceptionally good map. I love Payback. I think it plays so well. Again, great size, not too big, not too small. Pretty definitive 3-lane map. You can go down the building side. You can go up the stairs to the room that everyone like camps in, but it's easy to kill people camping there. It's not a huge power position. And then you could go down the left side where the gardens or whatever are. Like and you're chilling. Like, really well designed map. I love it. I wish I could say the same for any other BO6 map. And then Embassy from MW 2.
Yeah.
Was really good for no reason. There's no reason that should be a good map. Yeah. Like, looking at it, thinking of how it's laying out, playing it, it feels like it would be awful. There's no, like, I don't get it, but I think the planters that are like by the tennis court do a lot of heavy lifting because they give you some cover in an otherwise way too open area for a multiplayer map. I think those are doing a lot of heavy lifting, and that does make it fun. I don't know why this is a good map, though. And then Anaya Palace Ground War as well, because there were no tanks. So you could play Ground War, play a game without SBMM, and not get randomly sniped by some tank. Yeah. So yeah, we largely agree on those for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not hard, by the way, to figure out. So let us know what your guys' favorite maps are, if we missed any. So we probably missed some, but I actually don't think we did, because if we liked the map that much, we would have thought about it.
Yeah. I had thought of mine, then I looked through a map list to think about more of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. So anyway. All right, so next micro topic here is from Biggie Smalls. Can you guys talk about why snipers in Warzone became such a polarizing topic? Namely, what he's talking about is their one-shot down capacity. Back in Verdansk, no one complained about one-shot snipers. Hold on one second. When there was far less ways to come back, and it was more of a true BR. Now it seems like most people think they shouldn't one-shot at all, or have all these ranges tied to headshot damage. People will often talk about how busted the car was on Dansk, yet people always ran different guns and different loadouts. And when things are broken OP in Warzone now, it's the only thing you see anyone run. Okay. Couple things I would say about this. Back when snipers were their best ever in Warzone, which you've correctly pointed out was Verdansk, because you could use a Kar 98, one shot down anyone at any range, and you would get no idle sway. And you had aim assist because it was a marksman rifle, not a sniper rifle. This is when snipers were their peak. They were never as strong as then, which is a good thing. But why didn't people complain about it as much back then? First of all, get your brain checked, because people did complain about it lots.
I don't think they did, man. I think you're the one getting it wrong. I think for like the first year of Warzone, nobody had any issues with snipers. I don't think it was honestly till the very end of Verdansk that people started complaining. It was just normal.
I remember they were banned in tournaments because they were so strong.
Yeah, there are a lot of things banned in tournaments. But again, was that early on or later on?
Well, yeah, I guess that's the question. I don't really know how early. Not super early. You're right about that. Because even
Cold War, we had like 3 or 4 meta snipers that people were using. Even then, it didn't seem like a lot of people complained about them.
Well, yeah, in Cold War, they weren't as good anymore. They were still quite good. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, they were very good, yeah.
They weren't as good as a Car 98, though. But will you guys let us know? Do you remember people complaining about snipers in Verdansk? Because I do, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But that doesn't really matter, so whatever. I think the big reason maybe it wasn't complained about quite as much is the game was very new, so a lot of people were just not very good, and there weren't like a ton of content creators always making like the absolute optimum do this to win videos. That did start happening pretty soon after the launch of Warzone, but like right away it was kind of just like multiplayer. Like, oh, just run whatever perks you like, run whatever gun you like, run whatever attachments you like. And then like 3 months later, people started figuring out like, okay, this is really what you should be doing. And then people started making content on that. And then people started consuming that content. And then a lot of people started consuming that content. So that like took a while. So a lot of people, I think, just didn't really know. But because the car was so easy to use, if you were frustrated by it, you would just be like, all right, if you can't beat them, join them. So you yourself would equip a car, and you wouldn't have to be very good to be very effective with it because it had aim assist and no idle sway. So if you got frustrated with it, you're like, all right, well, I'm just going to do it myself. And then you do it yourself and then very easily get kills. So then you wouldn't complain about it because now you're the guy sniping, having fun, frying everyone. Whereas nowadays, when sniping is very polarized, it's precisely because they're more balanced. So when you get sniped by Breadman, who is using a Cat AMR that can one shot to any range, but it would have no aim assist on controller, and it handles extremely slowly and has lots of idle sway. Well, now if you can't beat them, join them doesn't work because you can't equip a car and just very easily headshot everyone you want like he does. So if you can't beat them, join them stopped working because sniping got harder to do. So then they couldn't join them. So then they just said, okay, well, if I can't also snipe easily, then I want them removed from the game so I don't get sniped anymore. I think that's the main thing that happened, honestly.
Yeah, that's true because it's at the point where they're like difficult enough to use now in general. So when you do die to them, it's not as often. So you almost get more angry because when it finally happens, you're like, oh my God, this idiot's using a sniper. Versus back then, every single person was using a Car 98. So you get downed, you're also using one. You're like, shoot, this guy downed me. I need to res. I'm safe. You know?
Yeah.
It was just the norm.
Yeah.
But it mostly all comes down to the game was new. The game was new and people were just bad at it. And it was a different time back then. It's just everything changes like that over time when it comes to gunplay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it is now because they're harder to use too.
Yeah.
So you can't just pick it up and start torching kids because they were very, very good back then. Like full aim assist. The velocity was what, 1,600, 1,800
something like,
meters per second?
15 plus for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
which is
it was insane.
More than you can get now. Probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they were just, bonkers OP and easy to use. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, but it's just, people just get sick of something after a long time. It's like when they brought the car back last year in Urzikstan. people were upset. They were not happy, and the car wasn't even as good as it was originally. So I don't know why exactly that happened. It is, because it was easy
better
enough
in
to
some
use.
ways, but worse in others. Yeah.
But I don't know. Everyone hated it then too. So I think we're at the point where the community just doesn't want the quick, easy to use snipers anymore, and that's fine. I get it. They just got sick of dying to it for 3 years straight, 2 years straight. Because even into Caldera, there were quite a few people sniping, especially towards the end of Caldera when they were like the Garanko or whatever everyone was running.
Garanko. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I stopped playing the game at that point, but that I remember them definitely banning in every single tournament they would do, obviously, because it was insanely broken and they didn't nerf that for a long time.
Yeah. I think that's all correct.
It's like, actually though too, just because people are better now, and then so people have gotten better and aim assist is still the same as it was. So now like somebody's running across a field at 100 meters, you're hitting every bullet on that guy. You can hit him perfectly fine, versus back then nobody knew how to take advantage of that. They didn't know how to kick start that rotational aim assist.
Right.
So people would miss shots actually. So then now it's like, what do you need snipers for? Everyone's a fucking laser beam across the map. It's not even necessary.
Yeah. I think another is also, by the way, I actually don't think it's very polarizing of a topic right now. I think most people are kind of all agree snipers are fairly balanced. I don't see people bitching about snipers anymore. And I think that's correct. I think they are balanced. You can still one tap any range, but you have a ton of glint, you have a ton of flinch, you have no aim assist, and if you can one tap at any range, you're using a slow dog shit sniper. So like, I think they are pretty balanced right now, and I don't think it's actually that polarizing. But it's when it becomes too easy to hit snipes, you'll start getting sniped a lot, and then that is annoying, because what do you do? Like, it's not fun dying to some guy you didn't even know was there. So like, you're having a jolly good time, and then you're at the lobby screen before you know what happened, because you got sniped to some dude you didn't see. Of course that's annoying. I mean, that's the most annoying way to die, besides a cheater probably. But there are cheaters who will also be sniping that you won't see. That's the cherry on top. But yeah, I mean, of course it's frustrating. Yeah. Like,
I was trying to search back in Cord to see if I could see people complaining about snipers, but I really didn't. I searched like snipers, Car 98, trying to see if anyone was ever molding in the Cord, but couldn't really find anything. Trying just to figure out if people hated them or not.
Yeah. And a lot of it, again, I think is because a lot of people, they were using it, I was using it, you were using it, so anyway. But yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on that. Okay, next one is from Patios. How do loot pools positively and negatively impact Warzone, gun streaks, money, and contracts? You wrote a couple
so
things
like
here.
Removing the backpack the issue of streak spam is pretty much gone, thankfully.
I agree.
So I mean, you could have, there also just aren't as many streaks on the ground actually. So they remove backpacks, and they also finally nerf the streaks on the ground. I just thought about that.
That's a good point. Yeah,
especially
right.
on Area
Kudos.
99, you actually like don't find streaks on the ground. Well, not even necessarily kudos. It's just funny that now when I can't pick them all up anyways, now they're finally gone. I've got it. You should.
By the way, before I forget, pro tip: if you do a spy drone contract, it drops a guaranteed UAV now. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that until some guy we were playing with was doing a bunch, and it like auto pings the UAV on the ground for you. It's very weird. But if you want a UAV, there's a reliable way to get one. But anyway.
Yeah. Or you could just open one chest and you'll have money for a UAV, which is now the issue we have. So there is so much money on the map that, I'm not kidding, every time we play, it's both maps, but for sure when we're on Area 99, you have so much money, there's nothing to do with it. I buy specialists sometimes now. I bought specialists 2 or 3 times, which I don't think I've ever bought it before. The whole last year, I've never even thought about buying it. Because with that money, I would have rather just bought other things, stuffed my backpack full of streaks or something, if I had that much. But every single time we play Area 99, we pop an advanced UAV easily. In fact, usually one of us just does it. We go to the buy 3 UAVs and pop it, and then everyone else still has $25,000 each. So the issue that we're running into now with the loot pools are there's just entirely too much money. Yeah. That needs to be reduced a lot. Even in Urzikstan too, like right now with the Gulag, it's one of those things where it's nice when it works out for me, where like I'm dead serious. You're almost better off immediately just dying. Just fall out of the plane and die. Go to the Gulag, get a bunch of cash. If you're playing quads, like you could even just die in the Gulag, pick up all that cash, your teammate buys you back, you're gonna land, and basically you guys can buy a loadout faster than if you were to just land somewhere and start looting around. There is way too much cash in the Gulag. Every single one is a 1200 stack, and there will literally be about 10 of those on your side of the Gulag before you even hit mid. There are like 10 of them. Like when you get past those first 2 barriers, there are 3 or 4. And then the second barrier, there are between 4 to 6. There's so many of them.
I come out with about 9 to 10K usually. I'm not kidding.
I don't even fight half the time. I first prioritize picking up money, and then I start trying to fight the guy. And if I die, whatever, I'll get bought back, and then I'll have a bunch of money.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So that's the issue we're running into now. Way too much cash on the map, entirely too much. Because Big Map in general feels much more BR-like with the removal of like the you don't see a lot of Gulag tokens anymore. You don't see redeploy drones, reinforcement flares. So now it's like it really comes down to just having money to come back to the game for the most part. And now we just have too much money. So if they remove that, then we're back to feeling much more like a BR. In my opinion. The issue now is, of course, is we don't have enough players on the map. So players are dying and not coming back as often, but we still have 120 players. So then it just gets boring, but that's a whole nother thing. So, the ground loot, it literally affects everything, obviously. So we need to reduce the amount of money that's causing a lot of problems. Like seriously, probably 50%. It's way too much money. 50%. Way too much money on the map. So I think 50% would be a good number. And then, your life matters more and you're more likely to play it like a BR, which I think we need to get back to since we have resurgence.
Yeah. Also, I totally agree with everything you said. And the money on the ground in the Gulag is insane. And the more I think about it, there should be no money on the ground in the Gulag. And if you want to give people money, just give a cat, like, if you win your Gulag, you get $1,000. Like, do that just automatically. Don't like make me go scrounge around like a little rat picking it up. What does that add to the game? Like, it doesn't add anything. But I'm going to pick up the money, obviously. So like, that's exactly what I do. Like you said, run around, pick up all the easy stacks of money right next to you before the guy could even possibly be looking at you, and then fight it out. And then if you win, go pick up more money until it ends. And if you lose, okay, well, I'm going to cost 3K to buy back, but I'm going to come back with 9,000. It's a net $6,000 for me having died. This is insane. Like, it's really stupid. So they should just remove that altogether. But yeah, loot pools are kind of everything. A lot of the loot pool is good right now, though, I will say. There is too much money. I totally agree. And that adds to a bunch of problems. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, there aren't that many kill streaks as loot on any map, which is really good. There aren't that many. We could add satchels, actually. Make the satchels more common. I think they need to be actually quite a bit more common. I am not finding armor satchels. I find quite often. Muni satchels, I very rarely find.
I have a better idea. Remove both of them. Let me hold an extra 60 reserve rounds of ammo, and let me hold 10 plates instead, and then just get them out of the game.
That's the perfect idea. You're correct. Yeah, I agree with that. But they're not going to do that. So if they're not going to do that, then yeah, make them more common. That would be cool. But also, like, the ground loot weapons are very good. They're all almost with a few exceptions, very usable. This is probably the best ground loot in Warzone we've literally ever had. It's not perfect, but it's the best I can think of ever, of any time since 2020.
It's pretty dang good, yeah.
It's like really good, which is a really good thing, and that makes the game a lot less frustrating. Because if I have an orange Tonto and some guy pushes me with loadout, he's going to have an advantage for sure, but I absolutely stand a very good chance of winning this. If I'm better than he is, I'm going to probably win regardless. Whereas there have been times in Warzone, you can loot an entire building and find terrible shotguns or rocket launchers or snipers with iron sights on them and no plates. And then you would get pushed by someone with a DTIR who's cheating, and you just don't stand a chance. So that's really been quite nice. And then contracts, I think the contract distribution or density is good right now. I don't feel like there are too few or too many contracts. I think it really does just come down to loose cash. There's too much of it. Yeah. And by the way, another pro tip for you. Because there are not many flares, I found like 1 or 2 flares ever as ground loot, by the way, which is good.
I found one. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, they are not common at all anymore, which is really good. And redeploy packs, I think, are just gone. If they're not gone, I've never seen one. I don't know how to get it.
Redeploy packs are gone, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But gulag tokens are still fairly common. Trump Tower, by the way, is still a high value loot zone. It is absolutely insane. Market is also still a high value loot zone. So they didn't change those, which is interesting. Pro tip for you, every time you go to the gulag, when you come back, you should just buy a gulag entry kit. It's 4K and you will have earned more than 4K, whether you won or lost in the gulag. So you might as well do it so that if you die again, you can go back to the gulag, collect another 9K. And then if you lose, you get bought back for 3, you spend 4, you've netted 2K. There's no reason not to buy gulag tokens constantly, unless there's one as ground loot already. But you should always be buying those, especially if you lost the gulag. That means your teammate went to a buy station and bought you back. It's almost certainly safe enough for you to just land there, snag a quick token, and then play.
Yeah, that's smart. That's not something I ever do, but it's worth doing now in the game, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're not going to find them quite as often. And yeah, there aren't as many ways to come back now. So yeah.
I think that'll be in ranked. Buying gulag tokens?
I suspect it will be.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming too. I could go for it not being in the game, though. It would actually be nice if they removed. Well,
I think it's fun. They need to take the money out of the gulag, but they cost money to get, and you have to go to a buy to buy them. I think it's okay.
The good thing is we waited a year for this rank system, so we can expect a lot from it. It'll be perfect on launch and really, really good, and they won't have to change anything. Yeah. There probably won't be a single issue with it, actually. Thankfully.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. Yeah.
Because they had a year to work on us. That's good.
Certainly. Yeah. So then we got one more micro topic here before we sign off. This is from the patroller himself, Bates, friend of the pod, Mac Macaulay, a black male, excuse me.
What it says, yeah.
And that is his name on Discord. So I'm just reading. He says the everlasting argument of using meta versus sticking to what you're comfortable with. So the age-old debate, comfort over meta. What are you picking?
Yeah.
You wrote a couple of things down here.
Here's the thing, Bates. There's no reason you should be uncomfortable with a meta gun. Let's start there. That doesn't make sense, okay? That does not make sense. Every meta gun is meta because it's one, broken. It's like the DMR or something from Verdansk. It's broken, or it's incredibly easy to use, or both. That's why it's meta. So how can you not be comfortable with that?
Yeah.
If every other player in the game is doing really well with it and they're comfortable with it because it's busted OP, why would you be using something that's not meta and purposely putting yourself at a disadvantage to use a gun that you think you're comfortable with? You're thinking wrong if that's the case, Bates, okay? And I'm furious at you right now. Every meta gun you should and can easily be comfortable with, I promise you.
Yeah.
If you use the XM4 right now, because the XM4 is the best AR in the game, by the way, and you should never use MW3 ARs, put that one on TikTok. Use that new stock, that buffer tube stock. It reduces the recoil by like 60%. The horizontal recoil. It's like 60%, 40%, something like that. It's insane now. It's much better. The gun feels a lot better than it did a week ago. So, you know, the guns are meta for a reason, and you can be comfortable with it. I think you'd be a lot more comfortable with an 8 attachment XM4, if I had to guess, I'm just guessing, than you would with a 2 attachment Tonto in Warzone, if I had to guess. Even though you think you're more comfortable with the Tonto, you're not, okay? So use the meta gun. It's meta for a reason. It's really good. It's easy to use. Just use it and get comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we talked about this before, and I'll say it again, because it's been a while since I've said it. There is like a subset of people who play COD, or any game, who will play like PvP, like competitively, and they will on purpose use something off meta or not optimal. And they will do that so that when they don't win the game or they don't do well, they have a psychological defense as to why they didn't win. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm using the the Goblin Mark II right now on Area 99. And I just got fucking spit on hard, really bad. And then you die, and you kind of smile, you smirk, and you fart, and then sniff your own fart, and you say, well, that guy's a meta slave. He was using an XM4. That's the only reason I lost that gunfight, because I'm not a meta slave like he is. And the reason you're doing that, and deep down you know that why this is why you're doing that, is because in reality, if you were also using an XM4, that guy still would have fucking spit on you, because you're not that good. He's better than you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But to protect yourself and your ego, psychologically, you will purposely sabotage yourself so that when you do get spit on, you don't have to be confronted with the fact that you are not, in fact, as good as you think you are, and you could just blame using a goblin instead. Here's my advice to you. Stop it. Grow up, be an adult. Here's the thing, man. There are better players than you. I don't care what gun you're using, and I don't care who you are listening to this. Unless Biffle's here listening to this, and I don't think Biffle's a patron, we would have let you guys know, then I can tell all of you beyond the shadow of a doubt, there are better players than you, okay? And using a goblin doesn't change that. So just use the meta guns so that you win way more gunfights, you have more fun, and then sometimes you'll get spit on anyways. But you know what? Call of Duty isn't everything, and you could be like, well, that guy's better than I am. Or he's cheating, actually. So whatever, one of the two. Use there are cheaters as your psychological defense mechanism instead, actually. That would be my advice. That's what I do. If someone kills me, they're not better than I am. They're cheating. Be a normal person, but this way you'll do much, much better, and you will have more fun. And by the way, you'll improve at the game this way. Because if you're using shit that is not good at all, you're going to lose gunfights that you would have actually otherwise won if you had a meta gun. And then you could start to really learn when you lose a gunfight with a meta gun, why you lost it. And then you can start getting better. And then it's just a compounding effect of having more fun. You have more fun because you're using a meta gun, because you're getting more kills. And then you're learning more because you're using a meta gun. And then you're going to get even more kills because now you're getting better because you're actually improving and you're not gimping yourself by using the tier with akimbo tier or something, right? And then you can, and then again, it's just a compounding spiral of fun. Now you don't have to use like the XM4 specifically as an example right now. Like, yeah, you can use an XM4. In my opinion, you could use an MW3 AR still, and that would be competitive enough. Even if you disagree with that, you could use like the GPR 91. That's like meta enough. But like be in the be in the A tier. Ideally be in the S tier, but be in the A tier at least of like guns, so that you will have more fun. Trust me. You just have to get over this hurdle you have. That's actually why most people do this. I don't think you do that for this reason, by the way, Bates, you specifically. You're on your own shit, and that's cool. And if you have fun, that's fine. But I guarantee you'd have more fun using guns that are actually good. I promise. Yeah.
He gets wins somehow. He does it, but
he does get wins. Yes. How many more wins would he get if he was using good weapons, though? Lots more. Obviously, do whatever is fun for you. If the reason you're not using meta stuff isn't because you have this psychological hurdle, and you have to be honest with yourself to think of whether that's true or not, then, I mean, it's a video game. Use whatever you want, obviously. But you're generally going to have more fun using meta guns. They're meta for a reason. And that's back to what Tanner said. Almost every meta weapon ever that's been meta for longer than about a week has been meta precisely because of how easy to use they are. That's what makes them meta.
Yeah.
Like, so when you say there is some other gun that you're more comfortable with, what are you more comfortable with than an XM4 with the buffer weight stock on it? I mean, the thing doesn't move, and it handles fine, and it reloads fine, and you could put a 100-round mag in it. What is there to be uncomfortable with here? I don't know.
I know, right?
Like, what is there? It fires bullets automatically, and it does it at a pretty high fire rate in the case of the XM4 right now. Things are meta usually almost always because they are easy to be comfortable with.
Yeah.
I can think of a few exceptions, like the AUG meta that lasted a long time, and that I could see people being uncomfortable with, but it was so busted OP that even if you were uncomfortable with it, you'd still do better with it than anything else. Same with the other burst fire gun at that time. It was the AUG and the
M16.
M16, that's right. Yeah.
Fun meta.
That was a fun meta.
I like that one. With the sniper scope before they fixed all the Cold War 3x optics that were zooming 8x. Ooh, that was fun. Yeah.
But it's like, again, there's a reason that the man, I forget what it's called. There was an LMG with an insane fire rate in MW19.
The MG82 or something
I believe
like that?
That's what it was. It had the fastest time to kill on paper of every gun that was not a sniper by a lot. Why wasn't it meta? Because it was really hard to use. Impossible to use, actually. Like, even if you were really good, it just recoiled too much. You couldn't use it. So it wasn't meta, even though it had an insane fire rate and an insane time to kill. And the only reason it wasn't meta, again, is because it's not easy to be it's impossible to be comfortable with that gun. So this is a false dichotomy, is the TLDR. Like, comfort over meta is kind of a bullshit dichotomy that doesn't really exist. I can't think of a meta ever where there was a compelling argument to use something not meta because you weren't comfortable with it. Get comfortable with it. Yeah. If you're comfortable with any gun, you'll be comfortable with the meta gun. Like, it's really genuinely that simple.
Yeah, like people will bring up an argument like when two guns are meta, say like AMAX, Kilo, or like Grau, something like that.
Right.
But that's different because those are both meta for slightly different reasons. They're both really, really good. It just depends which one, in that case, you are more comfortable with. But generally, that does not happen often.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, the key point there is, like you said, they are both meta. So it's like, if they're both meta, then use what you're more comfortable with, obviously.
Yeah. But there's your answer. Yeah. There we go.
But it's not a difference between meta and comfort in that case. Yeah. So anyway. All right. So that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope, once again, if you're a patron, we hope you have a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. If you're listening to this publicly, shame on you. And become a patron, patreon.com/thedropshot. You might want to wait until December, because then we'll be offering discounts, 50% off. You can join any tier you want.
Any tier,
Ideally, you join at Obsidian, excuse me. But you could join at Gold for $2 and also 50 cents. And then you get ad-free episodes, all of them, early access to the public episodes, 3 Call of Duty bonus episodes a month, and a cute little Discord color Join
we
the Discord.
Could,
You'll be piss colored, and we'll see
maybe
you in
we
the
can-
alley.
Maybe we
That's
can
what I
almost
always
try
say.
to do like another Warzone hangout this month.
Ooh, yeah.
But what if we tried to do Damascus? If we get enough half-price people or something signing up to try out Damascus, maybe we could do it that way.
Yeah,
figure
Damascus
something
hangout. Damascus only hangout for the month of December. Warzone something,
Warzone.
and it'll be easy to get Damascus because it'll only be $10. That's a good idea. So yeah.
Plus, you guys got your Christmas bonuses.
Yeah.
Your wife left you, so you don't need to buy her a gift this year.
Right.
Your kids hate you and have blocked you, so they're out of the house. You don't have to give them anything. So give us the money.
These are all true. Yes, exactly. You have nothing better. Your life is kind of meaningless.
Yeah.
Investing isn't even worth it because you're not sure you can hang on for another year anyway. So you might as well just give us all your money.
It comes down to that.
Go to dropshot.com. There's donate links for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. We'll take both gifts simultaneously, but we do expect 2 from all of you. And also become a patron. Yeah, that'll be fun and exciting. Any other announcements? I don't believe so. We'll see you guys on Saturday. We will be live again, and we're going to have a banger, jolly good time. Stay humble.
Catch you later.